All right. Oh, we're live, baby. Welcome to the Gridiron. Basically, where we talk about how great the New York Football Giants are and how much and how badly the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys blow. Man, that cracks me up every time. As I said, welcome to the Gridiron. Thank you so much for watching. If you can follow us on YouTube, if you can like this video, maybe share it. That'd be freaking awesome. Also, YouTube, if you can go down below. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Also, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live, if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge, right? What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, just a little ways down, I'll make sure in the description box in the on YouTube, it takes you to my membership page. Very top link. It takes you to my membership. I got 3 different membership levels on YouTube. First one's called Saquon. Second one's called Lauren Taylor. And the third membership level I got's called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. Also, in the description box at YouTube, I got 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. We have over 9,000 members in the group. It's doing simply fantastic. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in that group darn near 365, right? So there's over 9,000 members. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. And then there's the link underneath it. Takes you to my Twitter account. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. That was a tough watch, that football game there. Most of the time, preseason, there's always something. I mean, that was obviously the game obviously for the backups. John Michael Schmitz might be like the only one I can kind of think of who's like a starter who actually played. Of course, he wound up getting injured. Hopefully, it's nothing long term or anything. But that was a tough watch. Sometimes, and most of the time, there's always some intrigue, and you're pulling for certain guys and everything like that. But sometimes you get these, where there's like no starters in there, and it's like backups, and it's just sometimes it's you get some offense up and down the field and all, and it's got some excitement to it. But boy, I'll tell you what, man, that was. Whew. I mean, the touchdown the Jets scored was, there was some atrocious tackling the Giants did there. Certainly can't say, without question that Asante was going to make the team, but, I'm sure he fumbling the ball on the opening kickoff did not help his cause at all. And, of course, that led to a field goal for the Jets, right? So, but the Giants were busy. They're down to 78 guys now. First, there was like an initial 10 guys, like earlier this afternoon, that wound up getting axed. But now it's up to 12, so they're down to 78. So they got another 25 guys. So I still got a couple days to go, but there'll be some more, obviously more roster moves to go. And of course, I said the guys get let out. Whoever makes it two-way, just because, hey, look, I got a little piece here. I'm going to talk about, so far, as of right now, as of this second, right, there's only been one guy who Schoen is drafted, who's not on the team anymore, right, as far as I know. That would be, you say McKeithen, I say McKeithen. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato, right? But if he makes it through waivers, I could put it back on the practice squad. But I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Jake Burton, I did a little piece on him, a video on him, whatever it was, 3 nights ago, whatever. He had a pretty good preseason with the Lions. He had some pretty good numbers. Now, according to PFF, I didn't watch his tape. Not going to watch his tape. Don't have time to watch his tape. Right. But according to PFF, Jake Burton, who was with the Giants just in preseason of 2021, didn't make the team. or if he did, maybe he was just on a practice squad. But he didn't play in 2022, didn't play in 2023. So he's been out for a couple of years. The Lions got him, and he played 30-something snaps the other night, and he graded out over a 70. Now, once again, he was going against backups and all that, but he graded out really well. He had a very good preseason for the Lions. Now, once again, is he going to make the team? Who knows? But as I said, he did very well, and he might make their practice squad. Who knows? He couldn't do nothing when he was with the Giants. He gets on another team with good coaching, who have a good offensive line, and look what happens. He does well, right? So I would not be surprised at all if McKeithen gets picked up by another team. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Or if he makes it through waivers if the Giants don't throw him on the practice squad. Right. And I said, you get these guys who get let go. That doesn't certainly mean that we're not going to bring some of them back. You got the one international player, and you got 16 guys. You got 16 guys on the practice squad. You got the one international player. That's 17. And then there's 2 guys you can designate on an injury reserve, right, who can come back during the regular season. So, and whether that, I don't know, who that might wind up being, we'll have to wait and see. But, so a lot of these guys the Giants are letting go, probably going to want to bring them back on the practice squad. Because to be truthful, a lot of the reason why they're letting them go is because they're not bona fide starters or maybe bona fide backups or whatever. And, just because they let go does not mean, doesn't mean they won't get picked up, but it certainly doesn't mean they will get picked up. So a lot of these guys, Machine Gun Kelly, I call him Machine Gun Kelly, but Kelly, the running back from Miami, who had a nice 19-yard run, had a couple nice runs in there. We let him go. That doesn't mean he won't get picked up, but he might get put back on the practice. He might get on the practice. Well, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But a lot of these guys will let go. You figure. Let's see my math here. I guess I am a true moron, right? 37 guys. So out of the 37 guys we let go, we can put 16 on the practice squad. So I'm not sure what that percentage is, but 40% of the guys that we wind up letting go might wind up coming back on the practice squad. So what? 2 out of every 5 guys that we let go might wind up coming back on the practice squad. So, but you also got to realize too, and you just think about it. A lot of the reason why we let some of these guys go is because they're not. They're not NFL quality. All right. So I saw this here, so I want to pop this up here. 7 thoughts. Let's see, where are we at here? Nope, video, nope. Oh, there we go. 7 thoughts. There we go. Following. 7 thoughts following the New York Giants preseason finale against the Jets, against the preseason debacle. And here's, I think, Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan after he took one of the 1,342 sacks. Now, it wasn't all, obviously, it certainly wasn't all on the offensive line. A little bit him was, what do you say? Him. Yeah, holding on to the ball a little too long. The thing is that what I was watching and listening to was on the NFL Network. Now, I don't know what you were watching or whatever, if you were in the New York area, and I don't know if the Giants, if Bob Papa, or maybe you can listen to it on the radio, whatever. Put the Giant game on, turn the volume down, and turn on the radio. Banks, Sims, and Papa. And listen to them talking on the ring. But the one thing is that a lot of it was it was the Jets broadcast, and everything they were talking about basically was the Jets. There was no, they didn't like maybe the Giants, if DeVito took a sack. Well, if the Giants were broadcasting it, maybe they would have shown down the field. Well, look, he was looking over here, but you'll notice over here there was 2 guys wide open over here. If he just looked to his right, he could have dumped the ball off to Kelly. He could have dumped the ball off to Miller, or maybe Johnson was open over down a little farther down. If you just looked over here, you know what I mean? But you weren't getting that with the Jets. Basically, the Jets broadcast. You know, if DeVito got sacked, they showed the play over 37 times, and they showed the guy coming in and just making a sack every time. They didn't talk anything at all about the Giants. So, yeah, from my point of view, I'm not saying it was worthless, but it was a tough watch because it was a tough listen because all they talked about was the Jets, right? But I mean, like with DeVito, he holding on to the ball a little too long. He's not, sometimes he just, sometimes he just doesn't move around much in the pocket. He just kind of seems to let the pocket kind of collapse in on him, right? He doesn't want to throw interceptions. He doesn't want to obviously turn the ball over. He doesn't want to give the other team a shot. He doesn't want to do what Daniel Jones did. 14 seconds into the game against the Texans. Hey, let's throw a pick six. He doesn't want to do that, so he holds on to the ball. And you want to take a lot of sacks. But anyway, this is, what is it? From SI. It's from Patty Trainer. Giants preseason finale is mercifully over. Giants lost a 10-6 decision to the Jets. Over the next 48 hours, Joe Schoen and Brian Dable will be hard at work putting together a 53-man roster, and in some areas needs a lot of work. Seems like we're saying that every year, doesn't it? Before getting into the week's thoughts, they worded you about the Giants' overall preparation in the preseason. For the second year in a row, Daboll has insisted on holding out his starters whenever there has been a joint practice. He did so this year against the Lions and again against the Jets, believing if they get quality snaps in joint practice, all is rosy. So what wound up happening was, they had the joint practice against the Lions, the starters, went head-to-head against, in the joint practices, got a lot of snaps and all that. But when the preseason game rolled around, he held the starters out. Then we had the joint practice here with the Jets, the starters going against the starters for the Jets in the joint practice, plus the backups and all that. But the starters got a lot of reps. Well, when the preseason game rolled around, all the starters were pulled out. So the only time the starters played was against the Texans. And, going into the fourth quarter, it was 14-10. Texans were winning 14-10. And if you take the one Daniel Jones debacle pass, right? I mean, see where it'd be like almost a 10-7 game. It certainly was not looking very good for the Giants, that is for sure, especially offensive. I can't even talk. I mean, oh my God. So the last two games we scored, 16 points? We scored one touchdown. And actually, if you want to look at it like that, in the last 2.5 games, we scored one touchdown because I think we had 14 points in the half against the Lions. Second half against the Lions, we didn't score a point. Against the Texans, we scored one touchdown. Against Jets, we didn't score. So basically, in the last 2.5 games of preseason, we scored one touchdown. Oh, my God. Let's see. And Patty's like, with all due respect to Dable, this is a very flawed approach. A joint practice is conducted in a controlled environment. Yeah. The quarterback can't be hit and often plays that should end in sacks are allowed to continue, creating a false sense of accomplishment. There is no live tackling. But, also, too, one thing is that, especially with these beat writers, there's no, there's no winning out of it. Like, because if you have the joint practice and then you put the starters in, okay. But if a starter was to get hurt, what are you doing? What are you, stupid? It's just preseason. What are you got a starter in there for? What if he gets hurt? What are you that stupid? So I can't stand listening to some of them because there's no right way. If you don't put them in, obviously I think you should play them whether they get hurt or not. But if you don't put them in, you're stupid. If you put them in, they get hurt, you're stupid. There's like almost no, there's no winning around it for Coach Brian Dable. But I mean, for them to build some cohesiveness, especially the offensive line and all that stuff and everything, and it's, you know, the one problem is that when you got these guys, the second stringers and the third stringers, trying to make a name for themselves, trying to make the team, they need some some plays. Now, of course, because it's all about the almighty Benjamin, right? What's it all about? It's all about the money, baby. Show me the money, right? So now we're up to, what are we up to? 84 games we play in a season now. So, of course, now we're down to 3 preseason games. So, I mean, these guys on the bubble, they got to get some reps. You can't just put a third stringer in there, third string cornerback out there, give him 5 reps and say, go ahead and make a play, intercept the pass and bring it back for a touchdown. I mean, guys need some reps. Well, now now instead of having 4 games, now you're down to 3 games. Then, of course, what's it about? It's all about the Benjamins, right? So we're going to probably possibly somewhere along the line go up to 18 games. And what's that going to mean? We're going to go down to 2 preseason games, right? So you're supposed to play your starters and then put these other guys, these second, third stringers who are on the bubble, supposed to give them a ton of snaps. How does that work out? Put the starters in there for 100% of the snaps, right? All right, and then put the backup, put them in for 100. It doesn't equate. You know what I mean? So give the guys a chance to
with dual motor e-force all-wheel drive that helps
give them
put
a
you in
chance to
control.
make the
The
team.
Nissan Ariya is electric.
You
with
gotta give them some reps out there.
This
definitely got to give them some reps. So I mean, the one problem is that when you're cutting down the amount of preseason games, the amount of snaps that these backup guys, second and third stringers, are give them a chance to try to make the amount of snaps they can get goes down. So it's tough. It's tough. Let's see. Let's scroll down here. When you made the roster when you get a chance to be a spectator in the final preseason game. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Usually that honor is reserved for established starter or a key reserve. Yep. But when you're Elijah Chapman, an undrafted rookie free agent who initially had to earn an invitation to training camp back in spring, and you get the night off, well, that just speaks to the hard work and showing this former SMU defender put into his game. Chapman has been the summer surprise for the Giants. In 72 preseason snaps, he's recorded 5 pressures, 1 sack, and has had 1 run stop and 1 missed tackle among his 5 total tackles. Whether he gets to play regular season snaps remains to be seen, but congratulations to the young man for working his tail off and earning a roster spot. Yep. Some snaps for the starters. Although the Giants sat most of their starters, they did make it a point to get some work for guys who missed chunks of practice time this summer or who have had shaky showings. The 2 most notable ones in this category would be John Michael Schmitz, who missed 10 practices with a shoulder injury, the same shoulder that kept him out of 3 games last year. Schmitz wouldn't discuss his injury with his ankle. Let's see. When asked why Schmitz got some snaps, Dable said he needs it. Offensive linemen need to lean on people. Blah, 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 blah. He's a second-year guy we're counting on to be a starter for us, and he hasn't been out there. So, the guys up front that have been out there, they've had a lot of reps, and he needed to get them. Tackle Evan Neal needed to get them. Guys that aren't out there need them. Availability is important. So is continuity, especially among a unit whose projected starting 5 have yet to take a live snap reps, game rep together. At first glance, Neal had a mixed bag before his night ended early when someone rolled up on his surgically repaired ankle. It's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Neal remains a solid run blocker, but his pass blocking was again all over the map. Now, if you look here, well, let me go back here. Show you Evan Neal, his Let's see what we had here. There we go. All right, Evan. Here we go. All right, last night. He graded out a 30. His run block was a 56.2. Now, mind you, okay, this is against second. He played early. So I'm thinking he went against the backups. It wasn't the third string guys he was going up against. So he went up against the backup. Now, once again, he was the tackle. He was the right tackle, and he was going up against the backup. I don't think he was going up against the starter. All right, so going against the backup, he graded out at a 56. Now, once again, this is like his first, right, in a long time, right? So, can he get better? Can he dust off some rust and maybe get back? Absolutely, of course. Sure, it's his first time out there. He was only out there for 21 snaps, right? But, his pass block was a 31.1, right? A guy ran right about around the edge on him, a backup. He had 10 quarterback pass blocking attempts. He gave up one pressure. He gave up one sack. So basically at this rate, and once again, this is just preseason, but it's against a backup. So if the Giants were to throw 30 passes in a game at that rate, he would have gave up 3 sacks in a game, right? Over the course of a whole season, at this rate, once again, it's just preseason, blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm saying, but at that rate, 1 sack and 10 snaps, pass blocking snaps against the backup, he'd give up 51 sacks in a year against the backup. So his pass blocking grade last night was a 31.1. It was not pretty. Not pretty. He did okay. He didn't do too bad in some of the run block. I was trying to keep an eye on him. It's kind of tough. You keep an eye on him. Azudu was on the other tackle. You're looking to try to look at the play. What's DeVito doing? What are they running? Blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of tough to tell, But I was trying to keep my eye on him as best I could until obviously he wound up leaving the game. But, he did not have a stellar night last night. It was, once again, if he was going up against a first stringer or something like that, like a Bosa or somebody like that, but, all right, okay, he had a rough night. But look who he's going up against. This guy's the top 5 edge rusher in the league, blah, 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 blah. Okay, maybe he'll dust off some, but, he was going up against the backup. All right, once again, yes. It could be a little rusty. Sure, it's his first action in a while and all that. So, but he did not really have necessarily a banner night last night, shall we say. All right, let me go back here. And where are we at here? 7 thoughts. Here we go. Back to Evan Neal. Neal, who was on a pitch count, he played in 21 and 25 snaps. He was scheduled to play in against the Jets, told reporters after the game that he was going to have tests done in the morning, but he sounded confident that it wasn't anything serious with his ankle. So, do the Giants have a swing tackle? If anything happens to starters Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor, the Giants are potentially in big trouble. Backup tackles Matt Nelson, Joshua Zudu, and Evan Neal all have rough evenings in the preseason finale. Of those, Neal, the former first-round draft pick, will probably be the top swing tackle, but his pass blocking continues to be suspect. Now, quite possibly, maybe his best, is push him in the guard where he doesn't have to worry about somebody running around the outside of him, right? If he can stay inside a phone booth or maybe just have to worry about maybe hitting somebody, maybe getting to the second level, maybe to, secure a run block, he seems to be fine with that. But he's a big boy. He's 6'7", 340, 350 pounds. He can take on those big boys inside. And, you're not going to have, what does Sexy Dexy do, right? He bull rushes you. Right? What is Evan Neal? He's a sequoia tree. He's 340, 350 pounds. He can take on somebody like that, right? He doesn't have to worry about Sexy Dexy doing a swim move and a spin and all of this. He doesn't have to worry about that, right? So maybe the best thing to do would be maybe see Evan Neal, how he works on the inside. He doesn't have to worry about somebody running around the edge. like what happened when he gave up the sack. The main issue was Neal's pass blocking isn't that he doesn't match speed with speed. Against the Jets, his footwork and angles were off, so they opened too much space around the edge. He eventually settled down before his ankle issue forced him out of the game. But his inconsistency is maddening. One name to watch for is Tyree Phillips. Phillips has been rehabbing from a late season quad injury, that required surgery. Is said to be making great progress and could be ready to help an NFL team in need. So keep an eye out for Tyree Phillips. An alarming stat. Oh, my God. Giants passing game registered 0 passing touchdowns in 89 attempts this preseason. This comes after last season when in 518 passing attempts, the Giants only managed 15 touchdowns. I mean, I get it that it's preseason and it's not time to worry because teams aren't showing their full plethora of plays and strategies, but you'd still like to see some scoring production. Yes, you would. I mean, the Carolina Panthers scored 31 points in their one game. The Giants in 3 games scored 30 points. For those wondering, the Giants averaged 10 points per game on offense, 31st in the league. Only the Atlanta Falcons had a worse average, scoring 8.3 points per game. So the Falcons scored 25 points in 3 games. The Giants scored 30. Giants scored 30 points in 3 preseason games. 3 touchdowns. 3 field goals. Absolutely pathetic. Another alarming stat. It gets worse. Every year we hope this changes, but it seems to stay the same. I'm, of course, talking about the run defense. The Giants allowed 122.3 rushing yards per game this preseason, which was 22nd in the NFL. What about the pass defense? Believe it or not, opponents didn't attack the Giants' pass defense as much. New York allowed 172.7 yards through the air per game, which was 13th in the league. But the bottom line is they better get that run defense figured out, because if they can't stop the run, it could be another long year for the Giants. I mean, you got it was just like they were just like running it right down our throats. I mean, it was just like, Ferguson or whatever the guy's name was, whatever. He turned around and I can't remember the backup quarterback. I mean, just turn around the quarterback, and just guys just getting 4 or 5 yards up the middle. All right, just always something, maybe around the edge, or just you need 3, 4, 5 yards. Yeah, we'll just hand it off, just run it up the middle. It's just like, where's the run defense? It's like. Giants Executive Director of Player Performance, Aaron Wellman, found himself in the line of fire on a third quarter play when a Jets player ran into him on the sideline. Wellman immediately bounced back up to his feet as though nothing had happened. So, Wellman's the guy we kind of hoping that is supposed to be called upon to help turn this around, but. It was a tough watch. I mean, I understand all that stuff and everything, and I get it. It's only preseason and everything, but there's not a ton. I mean, the first couple of games, the Giants, their offensive line only gave up, I think, 1 sack. I think it was. Well, no, it wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad at all. I know Daniel Jones had some nice pockets against the Texans. I mean, there were some positive things, but there were certainly, some just tough things to watch. Very, very tough things to watch. So we got our injury updates here. So let's see here. Let's share this here. The old injury updates. John Michael Schmidt's latest news on the Giants center. Michael Schmidt suffered an ankle injury during the final preseason game. Right, the second-year center exited the game following the team's first offensive drive. He was rolled up on during a 4th-and-1 play that the Giants failed to convert. After being checked out on the sidelines, Schmitz was ruled out with an ankle injury. He downplayed the severity of the injury following the game, when speaking to reporters. He said he has no concerns about his week 1 availability. So, but that's the one nice thing is there is 2 weeks off. All right, till we wind up playing the Giants. Actually, it was over 2 weeks off because the game happened on Saturday. We're not playing the Vikings till Sunday. So there's a good full 2 weeks off that he has to hopefully get on the mend. So, let's see. We got, it's. I know Timmy Horn, he wound up, we'll go over him in a little bit with some of those roster moves, but he tore his Achilles, and he's gone. First play of the game, after the kickoff, tears his Achilles. Let's see here. Even so, this is a concerning narrative that has dominated Schmidt's second season. He missed more than a week of training camp due to a shoulder injury. The second-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft struggled along with the rest of the offensive line last season. Among qualified centers, Schmidt's 30 total pressures and 5 sacks allowed were both the 5th most in the NFL. It's unclear how severe the injury is, and the Giants have roughly 2 weeks before the season opener against the Vikings. If Schmitz is to miss any time, Van Roten would likely step in as center. The Giants also would need to decide on Austin Schlottman, and Jimmy Morrissey if they want to keep a third center before the roster cut. So that's going to be – some of that might wind up also being, let's think about or let's see what the severity is of, whatever the injuries that John Michael Schmitz might wind up having. So, but hopefully, knock on wood, he'll be good to go on opening day. He's got 2 full weeks. So, all right. Oh my God. It just was. With Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan got sacked 8 times. It's just tough. Tough watch. Especially that one time when he got sacked 3 plays in a row. It was unbelievable. Tommy DeVito started and went the whole way. Let's see, as the Giants closed out the preseason in a dreary 10-6 loss to the Jets. It was a rough evening for DeVito, who did not get much help from the offensive line that made life difficult for him in the pocket. Yep. This was a backup-only production for the Giants, as the only starter they used in the game was John Michael Schmitz, who needed snaps after missing so much time in camp with his shoulder injury. The risk proved to be a painful one, as Schmitz got the back of his right leg rolled up on a failed 4th down run and was checked out on the sidelines by trainers. Yep. And he did not return. But it did not appear to be a serious issue, but the season opener is only 2 weeks away. Schmitz said his ankle is fine. Brian Dable explained that he needed Schmitz to get some live action. Dable said that Schmitz will get an MRI exam on Sunday. Still had no confirmation on anything when he was talking with the media today. Let's see here. DeVito was sacked on 3 consecutive plays in the second quarter, with Evan Neal getting beat once, Joshua Zudu starting at left tackle getting beat twice. Oh, my God. DeVito ended up getting sacked a total of 8 times by the Jets' backups. His rare bright moment came early in the fourth quarter when he scrambled for 15 yards and then found tight end Jack Stahl for an 18-yard gain. The Giants got the ball back on their own 37-yard line with a minute 43 remaining. DeVito moved his team into Jets territory, but not into scoring range. He finished 14 out of 27 for 103 yards. He averaged 4 yards a pass attempt, which is absolutely freaking pathetic. Ups and downs, DeVito said. There were a lot of sputters. There was some really good, and there was some really wish I had a couple back. Some sacks. I could have just got the ball out, helped the play callers and the offense be in better situation. Now DeVito must wait to find out if he makes the team. With cuts coming on Tuesday, Drew Lock signed to be the backup is dealing with an oblique and hip issues, and the Giants might need to keep 3 quarterbacks. Let's see. Neal made his preseason debut starting at right tackle, but he was forced out with an injury to his left ankle that was surgically repaired. Neal said, I just got rolled up on. I popped up. I jogged off the field. I didn't hear any pops. I didn't hear any cracks or anything like that. It's just football. It happens. And, of course, sadly, Timmy Horn was carted off the field with his Achilles injury. Mary Goodrich and Agofu went out with hamstring injuries. Jalen Mayfield was carted off in the fourth quarter, and Darnay Holmes ruled out with a neck injury. So, I mean, I can't even talk, man. It's just absolutely unbelievable, man. Absolutely unbelievable. It's just like the same thing every year. Injuries, bad line play. It's just every year. It's just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But we have 2 guys who kind of took the cake and kind of sealing their own fate. Giants players sealed their roster fate with embarrassing effort on Jets touchdown. But yep, this was downright inexcusable. And I mean, that touchdown, that was horrible, absolutely horrible. The Jets touchdown. I mean, give kudos to the guy. I can't remember who it was. I don't remember his name. Who scored the touchdown? Guy didn't give up. Give him all the credit in the world. But I mean, this was like, it just really piss poor effort on the Giants. The preseason finale versus the Jets was a great opportunity for some players to prove to Brian Daboll that they deserve to stick around with the New York Giants for the long haul. Some players didn't get the memo, however, as their poor play confirmed that they're going to be getting some disappointing news once cut day arrives on August 27th. We hate to call out some guys, but both Darian Beavers and Darnay Holmes showcased in the 10-6 loss to the Jets that they can't be relied on to make key tackles. And I was really pulling for Darian Beavers. It's just he just doesn't seem, as I said, he got injured, and when he came back last season, he was still coming back from the injury, so he was on like the practice squad. So he didn't make the team, and you got to be, when Daniel Jones comes back from the torn ACL, right? I mean, he doesn't have to run a 9-second 100-yard dash to keep his job. He just has to move around the pocket. He needs to scramble, but he doesn't, need his speed, to keep his job. Darian is running sideline to sideline, and his athletic and ability and agility and all that stuff is very important to him. So that was one of the problems he had last year. Maybe he wasn't quite fully back. But with his height and everything like that, his length, his ability to run sideline to sideline, which makes him very, very, a very intriguing person to have on the roster. But it's just I haven't heard much at all positively good about him in training camp, and then what happened last night was just I've not seen much at all of anything from him in these preseason games. Need further proof of that on a long touchdown run from Israel. From Israel in the first half, the lone TD and the Gangrenes win over Big Blue. Both Holmes and Beavers had the chance to bring him down. Instead, they somehow didn't. This clip is a brutal watch. Let's see. Oh, here we go. See if I can see if it's going to load here. Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's Oh, let me stop this here. So can I get this here? Nope. Oh, I'll pause it. Oh, here we go. Duh. There we go. So here's Beavers right here. I think Holmes missed him here. Let's bring it back here. Okay, here we go. Run it. Oh, nope. Turn the volume down. Okay, here's Holmes. I think that was Holmes right there. And here's Beavers right here. Oh, and he had him. Oh, wait, hold on. Bring us back here. Oh, bring back here. Oh, here's Holmes. My bad. Here's Beavers on the ground. There's another guy who had the arm tackle, who had a chance at him right here. This guy here had a chance at him before Beavers. But the thing was, Beavers had a big guy on him. Who was this here? Okay, right here. Let's see. Was it the center? Is it the center? Yeah, okay, the center. The center gets on Beavers. He's got, he's coming out. He's coming to the second level. He's supposed to take Beavers. Beavers got his arms extended. Right? The thing is, oh, where's this at here? I mean, also look at here. So the line of scrimmage is what, the 45? Yeah, the 45. So let's see here. I mean, the guy's, 45. I mean, Beavers is like 6 yards, almost 7 yards down the field. So, but he does. It's tough. He sheds the tackle, right? Obviously, unfortunately, he's 7 yards past the line of scrimmage here, right? So he sheds it. It was tough. I mean, he was going one way, sheds the tackle. He has to come back and try to make the tackle. So it's not the easiest, obviously, to play. I certainly couldn't do it, but right. So he had him there, and then of course, then you got Holmes here. Right, so Beavers kind of has him, and Holmes kind of has him, and then they got these guys here just kind of standing around. Okay, it's the tackle. Okay, right, and then Holmes missed them. He winds up taking this guy out. This guy he seals him off, and this guy's like a bystander, and then he's off and running. Right, so Darnay Holmes, and he's gone. There you go. Right there you go. I mean, just absolutely atrocious. And unfortunately, that's the that's the touchdown, and 45 yards for a touchdown. And Darian Beavers and Darnay Holmes were major letdowns versus the Jets. How does that ever happen? These are the kinds of plays that would force Brian Dable to rip his hair out if he had any. This has been a common theme for Beavers and Holmes this preseason, which obviously isn't going to be tolerated. Now, as far as I know right now, they're still on the roster. They're part of the 78. But Beavers was a late round pick in 2022, and it looked like the Giants landed a steal thanks to how he was looking throughout camp that year and early on in the preseason. Yep, he looked pretty good. Unfortunately for him, he suffered his torn ACL and had to spend his rookie campaign on the sidelines. He worked his tail off in his rehab, but he's never quite reached the potential people had for him. As for Holmes, he was drafted by the Giants in 2020. He was brought back this offseason on a cheap deal to provide some veteran experience, but he has no business sticking around. Missed open field tackles are infuriating to see, and this particular play from Holmes and Beavers were simply embarrassing. Absolutely. You ain't kidding. It's not the only reason why they will not be included on the 53-man roster, but it sure speaks volumes to why the coaching staff won't be putting their trust in them moving forward. This kind of effort to post a tackle is shocking and something that should never happen. So, I mean, I mean, I haven't heard much at all from Beavers or Holmes, in the training camp. So if they do want to get let go, it's, it won't be a shocker. But so we do have some roster moves here. We got a share screen roster moves, releasing 12 guys. So the Giants began the process of reducing their roster to the 53-man regular season limit by releasing 12 players. The group includes one former draft choice, which would wind up being Marcus McCutcheon, however you want to pronounce his name, the 5th-round pick in 2022. Now, of course, because you drafted You had a Zudu. You drafted in the 3rd round. You drafted Evan Neal. You drafted McKeithen. Right, so you drafted some guys you thought would be, either starters or backups for hopefully years to come, but it's not quite working out that well. Joshua Kelly, who had that nice run, had some, overall didn't have too bad of a night, but Breon Borders, Christian Holmes, defensive tackle Timmy Horn. Obviously because he got hurt the first play of the game. Let's see. Kelly was signed 10 days ago after spending 4 seasons with the Chargers. Borders joined the team on July 28th after stints with 11 teams. So he's used to this. Holmes spent 2 seasons in Washington before he was awarded off waivers to the Giants. Horn and safety Jonathan Sutherland were waived injured. Horn suffered his torn Achilles tendon on the first play from scrimmage. He played 1 game for the Giants last season. The other players who were waived are wide receiver Ayir Asante, who fumbled the opening kickoff. We got it at like the 45-yard line or so, had a nice return. Good for you, but then he fumbles it. The Jets recover it, and on the very first play, Timmy Horn winds up tearing his Achilles. Now his season's over with. So, defensive tackle Kyler Ball, safety Clayton Isbell, wide receiver Johnny Giles, linebacker Trey Kaiser, and running back Lorenzo Lingard. The moves leave the Giants with 78 players plus their international kicker, who gets an international exemption. They must reduce the roster by 25 more players by 4 o'clock on Tuesday. So it'll be a little bit each day, probably. So obviously they got some obviously a lot more thinking to do. The thing is like, what are they going to do? It's like, do we keep 3 quarterbacks? Are we keeping 3 tight ends, 4 tight ends? How many running backs? 3 running backs, 4 running backs. If we keep 4 running backs, we can't keep 4 tight ends. We keep 3 quarterbacks and 3 running backs and 3 tight ends. Maybe we keep 7 wide receivers. So it's a numbers game. So you got 53 guys. You got the long snapper, the punter, and the kicker. So basically now you got 50 guys. Now you're going to do 25 on offense and 25 guys on defense, 24 on offense, 26 on defense, vice versa, right? 26 and 20. How are you going to break it down? So it's a numbers game. Then of course it's kind of also it's like, okay, well, if we just keep whatever, I'm just saying, 3 tight ends, but we like 4 tight ends that we got. I like our top 4. If we keep 3 on the roster and we let this one guy go, right, and send him out to waivers, right? Will he clear waivers? Do you think he'll clear waivers? And we might be able to get him and put him back on the practice squad, because there might be some of the guys they might just have to try to keep just because they know if they cut him, they're not going to get him back. Some of these guys, they can say, oh, well, we could probably stick with whatever, just 3 running backs, because if we let so-and-so go, he's probably going to clear waivers and we'll probably get him back on the practice squad, right? So, but, they got some thinking to do. All right, then we got. I want to go over the Giants. They draft their first guy that they ever want to let go. First Shane draft pick. Now, once again, Giants. Sorry, no. There we go. Doesn't mean that he won't make it through waivers. He might make it through waivers, but I mean, if you look, obviously Darian Beaver's right here, okay? Right, but you got, as of Saturday night, game against the Jets, right? Beavers is on the roster, McKeithen, DJ Davidson, McFadden, Belton, Bellinger, Flott, Azudu, Robinson, Neal, Thibodeau, Gio, Riley, Hawkins, Gray, Hyatt, Schmitz, Banks, of course, and all these guys, right? So as far as I know, right? Let's see. He quite possibly might be on the he might be on the bubble. DJ Davidson might be on the bubble. I mean, somewhere along the line, some of these guys are going to start, going bye-bye. But as far as I know, I mean, all these draft picks, these guys are still on the roster as of Saturday night against the Jets. But, McKeithen, as I said, doesn't mean McKeithen, we might get him back. I mean, they might think, well, we can release him. Okay, we release him. He'll go through waivers and we can put him back on the practice squad. That's a possibility. We'll have to wait and see. But don't be surprised either if he doesn't want to get picked up, because McKeithen is a big man, right? 6'7", 335 pounds, right? And if as we've seen, right, if you got a good coach, good offensive line coach, right, they don't necessarily need all first rounders on their offensive line to have a very good offensive line, to be a functional unit, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of guys out there with third round, fourth round, fifth round, undrafted players perform well. So you got a guy that big, right, who under the right tutelage, might make a roster. So don't be surprised. I mean, if you don't wind up seeing Marcus McKeithen on some, say, or whatever, he hooks up he winds up staying on getting picked up by the Dolphins, and he makes it through the season with the Dolphins. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. I said, because we saw Jake Burton, who hasn't played since 2021 with the Giants in preseason. He wound up going with the Lions. Let me pop this up here. Let me see here. Let me stop. Let's see. Stop the screen. Okay. And we'll go here. I'll just show you what Jake the Snake Burton. He is now with, right, this preseason. Okay, here we go. He's now with the Lions. They have a very good coach. They have a very good offensive line unit and everything. Did it pop up? Jake Burton. Here we go. Guard. Okay. The 3 preseason games. Look what he did against Pittsburgh. 39 snaps, 76.9. Run blocking, 73.2, 75.7. Now, granted, all these grades here, are all against, I'm sure, all against backups. It's preseason backups, blah, blah, blah. But he did very, very well. His overall grade for preseason was a 73.7. When he was with the Giants, his preseason with the Giants in 2021, he was a 56.1. His pass blocking, 38.3. His pass blocking with the Lions in preseason was more than double what it was with the Giants in 2021. 38.3, 77.4. You double 38.3, you get 76.6. 77.4. So his pass blocking grade in preseason with the Lions this season here was his grade, according to PFF, was more than double what it was with the Giants when he was on the Giants. Now, when he was with the Giants here in 2021, I'm sure he had 49 snaps. I'm sure he was all backups, right? Same thing here with the Lions. I'm sure these are probably all backups. Now, he had more than double the amount of snaps he had with Detroit, but he had 114 snaps, graded out of 73.7 overall. Not bad. Now, does that mean he's going to make the 53-man roster with the Lions? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. I'll have to wait and see. But seeing this, because those games are on tape, right? So all the other teams, the other 31 teams can see his tape. He's 6'6", 312 pounds. Now, this was a couple of years ago, so I don't know, but he is 6'6". He might have put on some weight. He might have put on some size. He might have got even stronger, right? So he's a nice size, nice size, right? And he's putting out some nice numbers here with the Lions. Don't be surprised that Jake Burton doesn't hook up with another team, just the way Marcus McKeithen does. So, but as I said, McKeithen as of right now is the first guy to be let go from the Schoen, there's 3 draft classes. As I said, doesn't mean he won't come back, but there is no guarantee. Right. So I have to wait and see. All right. And then we got finally we got. I just wanted to go over the. Here we go. I did this. I did 31-40 last night with the Giants all-time players. So what they're going to do here, they've got 21-30. So this week they're going to do 11-20, and then the week before, the opening day, they'll do 1-10. Of course, we all know number one is going to be Joe Pisarcik. So they don't even need to put that up there. But this week coming up, they'll do 11-20. So I wanted to get 21-30 out of the way here. So let's share the screen. There we go. Top players. All right. So we got obviously Justin Tuck. I mean, a good solid pick. The only guy in NFL history in the Super Bowl to have multiple sacks in multiple Super Bowls. Justin Tuck. Just when I said there's a couple things you think of. I mean, I was multiple things you can think of back then. Obviously Eli Manning with that offensive line. Not so much in 2011. We didn't have a very good running game, right? And a couple of those guys like O'Hara, some of those guys weren't around, in 2011, but you had that stretch of period there. We had the same guys, Seibert, Deal, O'Hara, McKenzie, Snade, those same five guys were in like so many games in a row. So you think of the offensive line, but you also think about the defensive line too. We always had a lot of multiple guys who can rush the quarterback, right? And that's why I would like to also see like maybe next season with the Giants in the draft, let's get another I don't care. Get another edge rusher. Get somebody you put next to Dexter Lawrence who can get some penetration in there as well too. You can never have too many good edge rushers or guys who can rush the quarterback, whether it's an edge rusher or a defensive lineman. Right. So I would love to see if we get a defensive lineman next year who can get some pressure on the quarterback. But I mean, this is one of the things you really think of. When you go back there, it's like with OC and JPP and Michael Strahan and Justin Tuck, I think a lot of the guys that we had back then, and Tuck was, you can line Tuck inside, you can put him outside, he can rush the quarterback, he can tap, he was just a stud, absolute stud. Fantastic pick, absolutely fantastic pick for the New York Giants. One of the finest defensive line ends in Giants history. Justin Tuck always measured success by what he accomplished off the field as well as what he achieved in uniform. Third-round pick in 2005 from Notre Dame. Played 127 regular season games with 90 starts in 9 Giants seasons. He was a 2-time Super Bowl winner, 2-time Pro Bowler, and a 4-time team captain. He was credited with more than 500 tackles. 16.5 sacks were officially the 6th highest total in franchise history at the time of his retirement. But the thing is, I'm going to go over a guy who has might have twice as many sacks as this. But of course, his doesn't count because we're going to go back in the day. But just Justin Tuck, absolutely, you can't say enough about the guy. Right? Joe Morrison, right? Good old number 40. Got his number retired. Played a long time with the Giants. He played like 5 different positions. Known as Old Dependable. Joe Morrison was a 3rd-round draft selection by the Giants in 1959 and played for the team until 1972. Morrison was a 7-time team captain whose number 40 jersey has been retired by the franchise. Played 6 positions. Fullback, halfback, flanker, tight end, split end, and defensive back. A dominant figure during his career. He finished as the Giants' leader in receptions with 395, going for 4,993 yards and 47 touchdowns. He also gained 2,474 yards rushing on 677 carries with 18 more touchdowns. His 65 total touchdowns still is ranked 3rd in Giants history behind Frank Gifford and Tiki Barber. Now you also have to look, too, when Tiki Barber did it, right? Tiki Barber only has 3 more touchdowns, but Tiki Barber was doing a 16-game schedule, right? He got played 1959 and 1960. The Giants only played 12 games, and then from 1961 to 1972, the rest of his career they only played 14 games. So Tiki, if he played 16 or 17 games like they do nowadays, Morrison would probably have well over 70 touchdowns, which put him second all time. Let's see. Morrison went on to have a successful coaching career in the college ranks. He led South Carolina to 3 bowl games, and his 1984 squad posted a then school best 10-2 record. It was ranked high as number 2 in the nation after winning its first 9 games, earning him National Coach of the Year honors by Walter Camp Foundation. In his honor, the school created the Joe Morrison Award, which recognizes a standout player each spring. He was also head coach at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and New Mexico, and had a 16-year record of 101, 72, and 7. Morris died of a heart attack on February 5th, 1989. Wow, that's a shame because he retired in 72. So after his retirement, he only made it 17 more seasons. Absolute shame. But then you got good old Brad Van Pelt. Now he was part of the Fran Tarkenton trade. We got picked from the one of the picks we got from the Vikings. We used for Brad Van Pelt. I mean, good old number 10. Just what can you say? From 1973 to 83, he's one of the few Giants that played in 4 different stadiums. 73, the first 2 games of the season in 73, the Giants played at Yankee Stadium. Then the rest of 73 and 74, they played at the Yale Bowl. 75, they played at Shea Stadium. And then 76 to 83, the Giants Stadium. So he played in 4 different stadiums for the Giants. When he hit the team, he only hit those seasons, from 73 to 83, when the team had only 1 winning record, but he was one of the team's very best players. Van Pelt joined Carson, Kelly, and Lawrence Taylor to form the famed group, the Crunch Punch. He was selected to play in the Pro Bowl every season from 76 to 80. Van Pelt played in 143 games for the Giants in 4 home stadiums and 5 head coaches, too. Alex Webster, Bill Arnsparger, John McVay, Ray Perkins, and Bill Parcells. He had 16 interceptions for the Giants. He was outstanding outside linebacker, outstanding. Even Lawrence Taylor gave him a lot of praise. Lawrence Taylor was pissed off when they let him go. They're like, "Well, who are we going to take? Who are we going to take his place?" Well, after 83, they let Van Pelt went bye-bye, and they brought in some guy by the name of Carl Banks. So they went from one good outside linebacker to another. Homer Jones, my God, this guy, it was a shame. He got injured. His route tree was not very good. He couldn't run many routes, but he was fast. You get the ball in his hands, and there's a chance he could go, and he did that quite a bit. Remains the NFL record book more than half a century after he was one of the most prolific wide receivers in Giants history. Jones was known for his dazzling speed, and he is recognized as the first player to spike the football after scoring a touchdown. The Giants selected Jones in the 20th round of the 63 NFL draft, although he had already signed with the Houston Oilers of the American Football League. But the Oilers released Jones after he injured his knee in training camp. He called the Giants to ask if they would be interested in giving him a tryout. The Giants sent him a bus ticket to New York after watching Jones, who had run a 9.3 second 100-yard dash at Texas Southern. Coach Ali Sherman placed him on the Giants taxi squad, that era's version of the practice squad, for the entire 1963 season and part of 1964. In 6 seasons with the Giants, he caught 214 passes for 4,835 yards and 35 touchdowns. Jones' finest season was in 1967 when he finished with a career of 49 receptions, 1,209 yards, 24.7 yards of reception, and a league-leading 13 touchdowns, and made the first of 2 consecutive Pro Bowl appearances. Now, what happened there in 67, that's when Fran Tarkenton came. Fran Tarkenton taught him like 3 routes. And, unfortunately for him, 69 was his last season with the Giants. The Giants traded him away to the Browns in 1970. When the Giants got Kinnicky, they got Ron Johnson, but they traded away Homer Jones. Unfortunately, Jones, I think it was his knees. Yeah. Knees went bad. So we traded him away to the Browns. He only played one season with the Browns, and his career was over because injury concerns. But with Homer Jones, he's the answer to that Trivial Pursuit question. Who's the first player in Monday Night Football history to return a kickoff back for touchdown? Well, it'll be Homer Jones. He returned the opening the kickoff for the second half, the opening kickoff for the second half back for touchdown. That was one of the reasons why the Browns were able to beat the Jets that night. Very exciting game. Very exciting. Jones played his final season with the Browns in 1970. He finished his career with 22.26 yard average, which remains the highest in NFL history for receivers with at least 200 catches. I mean, Homer had a unique combination of speed and power and was a threat to score whenever he touched the ball, said John Mara, Giants president and chief executive officer. So, I mean, he definitely deserves to be on there. Good old Leonard Marshall. What can you say about Leonard? What can't you say? I mean, you got these two guys here, Marshall and Martin. Martin came in, it was 1975, I think it was. Over a nine-month period, 2008, 2000. George Martin walked 3,000 miles from New York to San Diego to raise money for health care needs of the rescue and recovery workers who toil at Ground Zero. Although Martin's expedition was well publicized, it might be the only second most famous long journey of his life. Yeah, I mean, he was just long career with the Giants. Thankfully, he got the Super Bowl. Right, he got the Super Bowl victory, Super Bowl 21. I mean, he played some bad teams. Boy, I'll tell you, in the 70s, there were some bad teams. But all the games that he played for the Giants, they don't seem to have it here. Yeah, how many games he played and all and everything. They talk about his walk right here. Then they talk about Martin played 200 regular season games for the Giants. His 6 touchdowns as a defensive lineman set an NFL record. But, Martin definitely deserves to be on here. And, of course, then you got Leonard Marshall. We had Martin and Marshall actually got a chance to play. Their careers overlapped. Martin's was kind of because he played till 88. Well, Marshall actually obviously started playing with the Giants in the 80s. So, but they did overlap for a few seasons. So we had two of our finest. I mean, if you look, I said, we had Martin, we had Marshall, then you got Carson, you had Banks, you had Taylor. We had some really good players back then. Let me tell you what. Marshall joined the Giants as a second-round draft choice out of LSU in 1983 and played 149 regular season games and 11 postseason games for the team. Played for the Giants and 2-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowler in 85 and 86, when he totaled 27.5 sacks. 79.5 career sacks, placed him third in franchise history. Fantastic player. Of course, then he also had that hit, right? Heard around the world. The one on where we at here? Whoops. My bad. I'm going off. Here we go. I mean, the one against Joe Montana, right? Knocked him out of the 1990 the championship game. What a hit that was. I mean, man, we had some players back then. I'll tell you what. I mean, he certainly deserves to be on there. Kyle Rote, the guy that we took number 1 overall in the 1951 NFL draft at SMU. What a phenomenal college football player he was. He was the first overall selection in the 51 NFL draft. He played in the 1956 championship game, the 58, 59, and 61 title games. The 1961 title game was his last game with the Giants. Rowe played 2 seasons at running back before switching to wide receiver because of a knee injury. He was selected to 4 Pro Bowl selections, 53 to 56, and was a 2-time second-team All-Pro. Rowe is still second in Giants history with 48 touchdown receptions and recorded exactly 300 career catches for almost 4,800 yards. He also rushed for 871 yards and 4 scores before being switched from running back to wide receiver. Rowe was the Giants' backfield coach in 62 and 63 before beginning a long career in broadcasting. He was also founder of the National Football League Players Association and its elected first president. I mean, it's like, you go back. I mean, I said, the backs at the Giants, I mean, for, just like these guys, Alex Webster had him for over 10 years, Frank Gifford for over 10 years, Kyle Rote had him for over 10 years. I mean, you don't do that. It doesn't, the NFL is not like that anymore. You just can't have, the same guys in the backfield or wide for 10 years. They don't want that. It's a shame. That's one of the, being an old fart that I am, that's one of the things I can't stand about the NFL. Maybe you got guys, you can't afford to pay them. Like, well, we got 4 really good guys, but unfortunately, because the way the NFL wants it, we can only keep one of them. So these other 3 guys who we really like, we got to let them go because we can't keep them because we can't afford them. It's like, I can't stand that stuff. But I mean, Kyle Rote was, he was an unbelievable college player. Unbelievable. And he really had a great career with the Giants. Del Schaffner, I mean, this guy too. I mean, we had Bob Schnelker in the 50s to like 1960 or 61. Then we made a trade to get Del Schaffner. And let's see here. So we had Schnelker. Let's see. Schaffner was one of the most prolific receivers in history and the owner of a line and franchise record books for 57 years. Schaffner was a 5-time Pro Bowler and a member of the All-Decade team in 6 as he selected for Pro Football Hall of Fame. He played the last 7 seasons of his 11-year career with the Giants after joining the team in a trade with the Rams. Schaffner retired after the 1967 season with 349 catches, including 239 with the Giants. Schaffner gained 4,300 yards on those catches, an 18.1 yard average that ranks second in Giants history, only behind Homer Jones. Let's see here. On October 28, 1962, the Giants defeated the Redskins. Obviously, that's when Y.E. Tittle threw for 7 touchdown passes. Schaffner caught a then franchise record of career on 68 passes. 1,100 yards, became the first Giants player to have 1,000 receiving yards in a season. Schaffner followed that up with 1,100 yards, 1,181 yards, respectively. In the next 2 seasons, he caught 11 touchdown passes in 61, 12 and 62. Phenomenal numbers. The Giants also back then had a phenomenal, very, very good offense with Y.E. Tittle. They were putting up some points. Schaffner was born in 1934. He played halfback at Baylor. Schaffner was selected in the first round of the 57 NFL draft by the Rams. Let's see here. He had a 51 reception for 936 yards and 7 scores in 59, but a leg injury and ulcers limited him to 12 catches in 1960, prompting the Rams to trade him to New York. Good trade. Then we got these 2 guys here. Now, this one, Jim Cabbage, is, I gotta share. I gotta stop sharing here. Now we'll show you Jim Cabbage here. Present. Stop screen. Present. Let me share the screen here. We got Jim Cabbage here. I mean, because of course these sacks, aren't, they're not official. But you look here, right? 1963, he had 20 and a half sacks. 1962, he had 16 sacks. He had 91 and a half sacks And that was only from 1960 to 1968, 91 and a half. His first 4 years in the league, they don't even have records because they for some reason they could see film from or somebody was able to see film. I don't know who it is. I'm not sure, but they got these guys out there that they see film and they break down the sacks. Of course, they're not official, so these 91 and a half sacks are not official. But this guy in 14 games had 20 and a half sacks. Now, at that rate, that was about a sack and a half a game. So if he played 2 more games, if he played a 16 games schedule, he probably would have had maybe 3 more sacks. He might have had 23 sacks in a season, which would have been an NFL record. But, of course, it's not official. It doesn't count. But in these 2 seasons here, he had 36 and a half sacks. Actually, you figured these 3 seasons right here, he had 50 sacks from 62 to 64. Okay, if you want to do this here, too. He had 61 and a half sacks in 4 seasons, 61 and a half, 4 seasons. But I said, but if you go back here, 59, 58, 57, and 56, he only had 5.5 sacks here, but he only played in 8 games, 1960. But if you go back here, these games here, he might have had maybe between all 4 of those years, he could have another 10 or 15 sacks. He could have had well over 100 sacks in his career. But of course, they're not official. But I mean, Jim Catlets, let me tell you what, the guy was very, very good. Defensive lineman. All right, let's see here. So let me go. I mean, the 2 of them. These 2 guys here, Arnie Weinmeister and Jim Catlets. I mean, Catlets, he played 165 games, 13 seasons for the Giants. More than half a century later, the record book is still littered with Catlets' name. A 3-time All-Pro and Pro Bowler. He helped the Giants make the championship game 6 times in his 8 years. I mean, in an 8-year period. Yeah. A Giant record that is still tied for the 3rd most in NFL history. In a 14-game schedule during the 63 season, he recorded 25 sacks. Although it did not become an official statistic until 82. His 19 fumble recoveries still remain a team record. Jim was one of our greatest defensive linemen, Wallington Mara said of Catlets, who passed away in 1995. He played the defensive end position on all of our greatest teams in the 50s and 60s. I mean, you had Andy Robustelli on one side, Jim Catlets on the other. I mean, Catlets should certainly be in the Hall of Fame, without question, to me. But then we got Arnie Weinmeister. We got the sexy one is starting to stake his claim to be the greatest defensive tackle of all time. But Arnie Weinmeister is right now, to me, the greatest. He only played 4 years for the Giants. He played a grand total of 8 years of professional football, 2 of them with the New York Yankees in the American Football Conference, the AAFC, All-American Football Conference, in 48 and 49. He played with the Giants from 50 to 53. Then he played 2 seasons in this Canadian Football League, 54 and 55. So he played a grand total of 8 seasons. He only played 4 seasons in the NFL, and he's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was like he was an all first team All Pro and everything. I mean, he was dominant. He was really, really dominant. Actually, between him and Al DeRogatis, I think those are the best 2 paired defensive tackles the Giants have ever had in team history, period, bar none. I mean, the Giants had Dick Modzelewski and Rosie Greer later, obviously a couple of years later, but I think Arnie Weinmeister is better than Modzelewski and better than Rosie Greer. I mean, this guy was very, very dominant. Arnie Weinmeister was one of the most first defensive players to captivate the masses in the same manner a star running back or quarterback could. A big and extremely fast player with great agility to diagnose plays, Weinmeister began his pro career with the Yankees in the All-American Football Conference. In 1950, he moved to the NFL during the 1950 merger. Weinmeister played 2 ways in the AFC, but was used exclusively on the defense in the NFL. He has always had the knack of wearing success with modesty. Hall of Fame presenter John Scherberg said at Weinmeister's enshrinement in 1984, except for his size, you would never know he was around. Yes, he is a presence to be reckoned with, which is probably the overwhelming reason why he is admitted to the NFL's Hall of Fame. When I start a game, I feel that I must hit my opponent first and hardest, Weinmeister once said. Football is a fiercely competitive game, and it's this competitive aspect, the risk, that heightens the excitement. I mean, he was, if let me stop sharing this here. And where's he at? Here we go. Only one Meister. Let me just go show you. I mean, just real fast. There's like no, because they don't show the sacks or nothing here. See sacks, right? But he played with the New York Yankees in 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53. The guy selected to a Pro Bowl, and he was the first team All Pro all 4 years with the Giants, 50 to 53. I mean, he was. I mean, could rush the passer, could tackle. He could go sideline to sideline. He was really, really good. He wasn't very big. What was he? Only 235 pounds, 6'4". I mean, I do apologize. He had some height to him, without question. All right, but he's only 235 pounds. But as an interior defensive lineman, I mean, he was fast at only 235 pounds. So he was able to move. Right, he was just phenomenal. It's just a shame, that he missed out, on quite possibly being, being in the 56 championship game, where he would have at least gotten a championship, because from 50 to 53, when he was playing with the Giants, all 4 of those years, the Browns wound up winning the title, and the Browns went to the championship game. The Giants never did, from 50 to 53. But Arnie Weinmeister played 4 seasons in the NFL, and he is in the Hall of Fame. Certainly deserved it. So as of right now, we still got a ways to go, but as of right now, he is my greatest defensive tackle of all time for the Giants. Now, obviously, give Sexy Dexy another year or two of what he's able to do. I'm going to have to probably give Sexy Dexy the nod. Sexy's he's just the man. Give Sexy another couple more years of doing what he's doing. If he can stay healthy and all, I mean, to me, he'll probably be the greatest defensive tackle in Giants history. But so that's what is that? That's 21 to 30. So this week coming up, they're going to probably unveil 11 to 20, and I can hardly wait. As we go up the list, it's the guys are just getting better and better. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 22 minutes. Man, I'm just shooting my mouth off. So whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.